Hey, what's up, guys? Azanay here, and my exams are finally over. Oh my god, that was a big stress for me. Can't concentrate on YouTube a lot, but for now, 5 to 6 days, it's full YouTube time. So I've got a very good video this time. It's the top 5 graphics card for the week or for the month, whatever you want, because it's just not a weekly offer. But we have really good graphics card in this list. Mostly it's for Radeon options, and I really like that Radeon options. So there are really good video cards out there, but most of them are not in stock, or most of them are in those conditions which the MSRP was set for like $240, but they're being sold in websites for like $280 to $300. So that's not good. But this time there's some cards which has a really good price point when compared to the MSRP. So without any further ado, let's get straight to it with number 5. Number 5 is the EVGA GeForce GTX 750 Ti 2GB card for $100. Now this is still a really good card. The only thing drawing back from its main performance is that 2GB, because 2GB is massively really low for nowadays games, because it at least needs 2GB for at least a 1080p gaming. But the GTX 750 Ti is really awesome in gaming. You can play every games 1080p medium to high settings and get 30 to 40 FPS. That's pretty good for just $100. Now there are other options such as the RX 460, but they're everywhere they were above $110, even though it is the 2GB or the 4GB. So for 4GB RX 460, it was something about $130 to $140. I didn't think it was much worth it when we have another GTX 750 Ti in for $100. And we can get a similar kind of performance. So I went with this card. The RX 460 was not too much a hell of a performance for that price point. For the fourth card, I went the XFX Radeon R9 380X 4GB video card for only $200. This card is an absolute monster, even at 1080p and 1440p. It's actually the sweet spot for this card is that 1440p resolution. 1080p you can very high every games and get 40 to 50 FPS. No sweat. Witcher 3, Crysis 3, Tom Clancy's The Division, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Far Cry Primal. Every games you can set the preset to very high or just max out at 1080p and get like 40 FPS. That's awesome for just $200 card. Now there might be a question in the comment section below that why didn't I go with an RX 470 even though we have the kind of similar price point? No, the RX 470 there nowhere we can find for even $210 even for the 4GB card, but it was said that $200 card will be for 8GB and $270 $170, $180 for the 4GB card. We have nowhere to find out, and even though I do have an RX 470 in the list, but the R9 380X actually smashed off that $200 price point. Didn't go with the GTX 960 even though it was for $180 to $190, because this card is actually a monster. I love this card. It's a hell of a good card for $200. For the third one is the Sapphire RX 470 8GB card for $230. I did think to go with an RX 470's 4GB card, but all of you guys out there really like that whopping extra 4GB from the 4GB. And it's actually good. It will help us in maintaining high resolutions, but this card is actually the highest point is just 1440p. You can't handle 4K, no way, because this card is actually pretty sweet spot at 1080p. But its bigger brother, the RX 480, was something about a 1440p card. But this card is no joke. You do get a little bit of here and that performance of a GTX 970, and that's really good for a $230. So 8GB RX 470 is $230 for the Sapphire's model, but you do have 4GB ranging about $210 to $230, but it's really not so common to find. Most of the times it's out of stock. For the fourth card, I have the XFX RS RX 480 8GB card for $240. Then you do have a Battlefield 1 discount card with the purchase. Now the funny thing here is that the RX 480's 8GB card's MSRP itself was $240, but we didn't find any cards that was actually in this price point. Every cards were out of stock, or they were just selling for $280, $270, $250, and we were not able to find even a RX 480's 8GB card for $240. But here we have, and it's from XFX. It's got really nice cooler on it. The RX 470 just for $240. Now the funny thing is that the RX 470's 8GB is for $230, RX 480's 8GB is for $240. So this is the $10 difference. Now if I were you, I would definitely go with the RX 480's 8GB because the RX 470 is not too big of a performance difference just for $10 when we consider these two cards. Just a $10 difference, just spend another $10 and get the RX 480 because it's totally not kind of worth it. But the thing is that just for $10 you're not getting a massive increase in performance, maybe like 5 to 6 FPS, not a big deal. But if you want that new gen card or newer hardware, not all of that stuff, and you want the highest end tire on the graphics lineup for the RX series, definitely go with the RX 480. If I were you, I would definitely go with the RX 480's 8GB card. Now, in the case if it was RX 470's 8GB card and the RX 480's 4GB card, then there's no doubt I'm gonna go with the RX 470's 8GB card because, as I said, there's no that much performance difference between those two cards, and just for $10 you're not gonna get that hell of a performance difference between those two cards. Now coming to the final first graphics card is the best ever. There are two options in this. One is the EVGA GeForce GTX 1070 Superclocked ACX 3.0 8GB card for just $390, and I guess this is the first 1070 we are getting out of the website just for below $400. It's massive. The 1070 4K card, I would say 4K very high and get 30 to 40 FPS. That's just massive for a 1070. 1070 is one of the best selling cards, just following its smaller brother. The 970 was just like the 1070. It was sold out everywhere, but we are able to find just a card for $390, and that too a 1070. And this EVGA's got pretty good ACX 3.0 core, so if you're gonna overclock the hell out of it, you can get that and squeeze another some more FPS with that. Now, the other option is really good. If I were you, I would definitely choose the option which I'm going to say. The second option is the Gigabyte GTX 1070 8GB card for $400, and you do have Gears of War 4 free purchase with the card. So just $10 difference, but you do have a really good game, worth it for just $10 difference, and it's like $50 to $40 or $60 for this game itself. So it's totally worth it. Just $10 difference, and Gigabyte's cooler is much better than the EVGA GTX 1070. Even I have a Gigabyte card, and it's the cooler is just awesome. The WinForce cooler you have on that is just awesome. So if I were you, I would definitely choose the GTX 1070. And if you want to know the performance, 1080p, if you have a 1080p monitor, you're gonna smash out FPS, but you're gonna squeeze in that, you know, the real horsepower of the card at high resolutions like 1440p or 4K, or you can use DSR or super sampling technique and all of that and get the hell performance out of it. So that's it. You have got really good Radeon cards over there. So if you would ask me, and if you have a really good price point between all of these 5 cards, what I would choose is the RX 480's 8GB card. That's it. If you have extra $100 or $150 to spend, get the 1070, or the middle price point do you have, then get the RX 480. Anyway guys, that's for this. Definitely be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.